Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the home, virtual and physical, of Calgary Unitarians. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your search for meaning, your path to a spiritual existence, we're so glad to have you with us. And if you're new or you're back from a long time away, we're especially glad to have you. We come together in beloved community to grow in wisdom, welcome and deepen relationships, and act for a just and sustainable world. Little reminder to silence your phones and other noisy devices. And we will recognize the land that we gather here on. This land is Treaty 7 land, and we are here as guests of the Blackfoot Confederacy people, the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Siksika. How great! Siksika, Bigainai, and Kainai. Aren't we great? Kainai First Nations. Also the Stoney Nakoda and the Sika. And the Stoney Nakoda are Wesley, Chiniki, and Bearspaw, First Nations. We are doing our work in Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. Yes. And our city used to be called, and still is by a lot of people, Mohkinstsis. So in offering the land acknowledgement, we acknowledge those people. We also acknowledge the land itself and our duty to be good caretakers of that land, and our duty through our relationship as Treaty 7 people. We are all treaty people. My name's Pam Rickey. I use the pronouns she and her, and I'm the outgoing secretary of the board. Everyone knows why this congregation is special to me. Mostly it's all of you. And it's so great to see the families back here. It just makes me feel so good. Remember, today is the AGM. We need to have 42 people for quorum. And you will be here whether you're here in the church or by Zoom. There'll be sandwiches at the back of this room. You'll have time to go for coffee. In between, we'll start the AGM at 12:15. Annual general meeting. Important. There are actually two. And this one is where we're going to vote on our budget and welcome in the new board. You're going to have the opportunity to do some voting.
Polity. This is called congregational polity. You want to get a little yellow slip. Congregational polity in action, my friends. Come participate.
Okay, we'll settle in now and worship with Reverend Shelley.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, happy May Day. Happy Beltane and Eid Mubarak for all our Muslim siblings. As Ramadan is coming to a close, we're hoping they're going to see that crescent moon and be able to feast as their month of sacrifice and fasting concludes with a great celebration. Today, we are going to, as always, rise in body or spirit and greet our Zoom friends, and then greet one another here in the hall. Hi, everybody on Zoom. Everybody stand up and wave at Zoom. We love you. We miss you. Mwah. Good morning. Happy May Day. Good morning, everybody. Look at all these people. Hi, kids. So glad our kids are with us today. Hello. The kids get to make a maypole. I'm jealous. I have a couple of announcements for us. This is important stuff. It is coming up on Thursday, May 5th, is Red Ribbon and Red Dress and Red Shirt Day. We want to be all inclusive there with our wearing and sharing of red. This is on behalf of the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And there is a National Day of Awareness on Thursday from noon to 5 p.m. at 200 Memorial Drive, and this is sponsored by Bear Clan Patrol of Calgary is helping out with this event. And so in fact on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, if you want to help them prepare the ribbons and prepare dresses and shirts for that and paint some banners for this event, they welcome all the help they can get on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. And that's at their Bear Clan Patrol office at 149 Fifth Avenue Southeast. And there's information available if you'd want to go help them out with that. And on Thursday then, they have a wonderful lineup of events, including elders and Blackfoot Confederacy drumming group, and Calgary Mayor Jody Gondek will be speaking. So it's going to be a really neat event, and we sure hope that Calgary Unitarians will show up with some force. I think Jane Ebern's planning a trip over there, and I know they'd appreciate our support. And then on Friday night, we normally have CU Fridays right here in our building, but we're encouraging everyone to do a field trip this coming Friday for the night market, the authentic Indigenous Mother's Day weekend night market, which is going to be at Kirby Center. And that's from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. So we would love to see as many people as possible show up over there, buy some beautiful art. Got to bring your funds with you. It's not cheap, but it's amazing and wonderful. Makes amazing gifts. Mothers would be thrilled to receive. And a great way to support our Indigenous artists. So that's Friday evening. We hope you can join us for some of these fun things. We love to get out and do things together. One of these days we're gonna get ourselves some Calgary Unitarian swag so we can all go, and people will know us by our swag. In the States, we all wear gold t-shirts. They're goldenrod, and they say "Side with Love" on them. So that's something we might think about adopting here at Calgary Unitarians. It is so wonderful, wonderful to be together. I light our chalice with a beautiful reading from Reverend Lynn Cox. And you may notice we also have a children's chalice. This is our rainbow chalice, so that the flame of our community goes with our children when they go with DRE Sheila. They're taking us with them. I love that rainbow chalice. Reverend Lynn Cox, creative spirit, source of life and love, we give thanks for the beauty of this day and for the company of those assembled here. Thank you for the breezes of change, clearing our heads and bringing fresh ideas. May these cleanse our minds of the oppressions and isms that divide us. Thank you for the flame of hope, the heat of righteous anger, the warmth of compassion, and the fire of commitment. May they bubble the cauldrons of transformation. Thank you for oceans of love, rivers of connection, tears of relief, and pools of serenity. May healing waters flow over us and through us and among us, wearing down the sharp rocks of despair to bring joy in the morning. Thank you for the good earth beneath us, around us and within us. May we take this clay and co-create a new realm of justice and beauty. Thank you for all these and more. We accept our gifts and commit to building, sculpting, painting, singing, and dancing them to life, to abundant life. So mote it be. Let us worship together. Happy May Day, joyous Beltane. Our theme this month is nurturing beauty. In a time when we're constantly adapting to change, focusing on beauty, not superficial appearances, but deep beauty, the beauty of nature, the beauty within each and every one of us, and the beauty among us. can be an oasis of peace, providing spaciousness and gentleness for our weary spirits and hearts. Centering ourselves in beauty brings balance and harmony that helps us stay focused in the present moment, in gratitude. That spiritual practice builds resilience and increases our capacity for joy. Please join me in receiving the beautiful gift of song and dance from Rising Appalachia, who are Chloe Smith and Leah Song, and feel free to dance along. This is Resilient.
I am resilient, I trust the movement, I negate the chaos, uplift the negative. I'll show up at the table again and again and again. I'll close my mouth and learn to listen. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. 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 These times are poignant, the winds have shifted. It's all we can do to stay uplifted. Pipelines through backyards, wolves howling out front. Yeah, I got my crew, but truth is what I want. Realigned and on point, power to the peaceful, prayers to the waters, women at the center, all vessels open to give and receive. Let's see the system brought down to its knees. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm made of thunder, I'm made of lightning, I'm made of dirt, yeah, made of the fine things. My father taught me that I'm a speck of dust and this world was made for me. So let's go and try our luck, said I've got my roots down, 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 down deep. I've got my roots down, 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 down deep. I've got my roots down, down, down deep. I've got my roots down, down, down deep. So what are we doing here? What has been done? What are you gonna do about it when the world comes undone? My voice feels tiny, and I'm sure so does yours. Put us all together, make a mighty trust the movement. I negate the chaos, uplift the negative. I'll show up at the table again and again and again. I'll close my mouth and learn to listen.
All right. right, that was fun. That was fun. And good morning, everyone. I'm Sheila McMaster, Director of Religious Education here at the Calgary Unitarians. I always say it long now, so it's not so short. I know we are a group of acronym-loving people, and sometimes we are always DRE Sheila for short, but yes, that's the long version. And as Reverend Shelley was saying, today is May Day, May 1st, and it can mean so many things to many different people. So for example, today is also Labor Day, so it's considered to be International Workers' Day, so that's something to celebrate. And today is also the Lei Day. You might be wondering, why am I wearing some leis? So in the state of Hawaii, they celebrate Hawaiian culture and the aloha spirit and giving leis to one another. So that's why I'm wearing leis in honor of Lei Day. Aloha. Let's hear a big aloha from everyone. Aloha. Aloha, awesome. And today is also a pagan holiday of Beltane that's celebrated, and that's one that's close to my heart because I feel like my own spirituality and connecting with my own ancestry, I feel like is through those pagan roots, but also spirituality through nature. And so some of you might know that I'm taking a Renaissance module, which is kind of like the class about the history of being Unitarian Universalist, and I'm learning so much because sometimes I think it's easy to forget that we have our own religion, our own group of beliefs, and part of that is a lot of the early Unitarian Universalists found a lot of spiritual connection through nature, where they talked about standing out by the stars. And it's in that moment that they felt connected rather inside of a building. And so that's true for me. I often feel connected through nature. And so today I'm very excited that we're going to be going outside into the grassy area. And we have a maypole. And we're going to be doing the ribbon maypole dance. And we'll be making May Day baskets. And some of you may not know the tradition of May Day baskets. It's very much like a good version of that game you'd play when you knock on someone's door and run. But this time has so many different names. And because I said the one name and the kid was like, what is that? And her mom was like, oh, it's this. And she's like, oh. So everyone has their own name for that. But if you have a May Day basket, you take it to a neighbor or friend and you ring the doorbell and you yell, May basket, and then you book it out of there. And so then it's a nice surprise when they open the door, right? And although I did hear a rumor that if you get caught, then you get a kiss. So that's an even better reason to keep running faster, right? Or not, if it's someone you like, just stand there. Just, they will have no choice. That's right. They'll have no choice. And so today, in honor of that cycle of renewal, this time of the turning of the seasons, I have a great story for all of you called Miss Maple Seeds. Cue the slides. I was joking last week. I said that'll be on my tombstone. Cue the slides, Sheila. All right, Miss Maple Seeds by Liza Wheeler. On a bright August morning, Miss Maple flies home. She has hurried ahead of the flock to get ready for her guests. And Miss Maple has traveled all summer long searching the land for orphan seeds that got lost during the spring planting. She hopes to help them grow strong here in her tall maple tree and get ready for next year's planting. She learns each seed by heart, all similar, yet none the same. Take care, my little ones, Miss Maple says, for the world is big and you are small. Miss Maple takes them on field trips to learn about being a seed. And some will be carried by the river and land in soft, muddy soils, and then friends of the river will help them bloom in safe spaces. And they tour the grassy fields and the thick forests, and many seeds will be blown here, where rich soil will keep their pods healthy, and the sun and rain will help them grow tall. In bustling gardens, seeds must take care to stay clear of weedy characters. Snuggled in each night, Miss Maple reads flower tales by firefly light. And before going to bed, she whispers, "Take care, my little ones, for the world is big and you are small." And then winter comes with the snow, a time to stay cozy and dry, and neighbors and friends gather to share supplies of hot maple syrup and old corn husks and juicy fruit rinds. And together they pass the long months with stories and songs. And when spring comes, thunderstorms pour curtains of rain. "Don't be afraid. Raindrops help us grow," Miss Maple says to the seeds, and they learn to dance and burrow down into the muddy ground. And on a windy May morning, much like today, the last spring petals drift down from the sky, and the time has come for Miss Maple to send her seeds off to find roots of their own. And they set out on an exciting new journey into the wide unknown. And some seeds will take root in nearby gardens, while others will travel on distant winds and faraway tides. And Miss Maple has given them guidance and love. And now her part of the story has come to an end. And they say their goodbyes with sweet memories past and bright futures ahead. And as Miss Maple gazes out across the land below, she whispers, "Take care, my little ones, for the world is big, but you are small. But never forget, even the grandest of trees once had to grow up from the smallest of seeds." And into the evening, she sips her green tea in the quiet hollow of the old maple tree. But the end of each season is the start to the next. And one summer morning, Miss Maple grabs her willowweed hat and whistles a merry tune and sets off to follow the faraway call of other lost seeds waiting to be found. And as we embrace this May Day, I hope we can all feel our place in the turning wheel of the seasons as we connect with the spirituality of nature and each other. And now join me as we sing the children outside to our maypole and making of our May baskets.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Plague, as it was once called, was to shut down the theater for 2 whole years, just when this guy was getting well known. What's he going to do? Well, he turned his hand to writing poetry. And it was becoming a kind of a popular thing to do when you're all tied up in your own place, was to read this newfangled sonnet, which were like little puzzles of philosophy that you could explore ideas. And one of them, I think, kind of took off. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough wings do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often in his cold gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in its shade, when eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
My dear ones, once again, it's the time when we pause and think about the joys and concerns, the sorrows, and the celebrations of our lives, the things that are just too important not to be shared with one another. Our hearts continue to be heavy with news from Ukraine. We continue to send healing thoughts to our beloved Jane Perry, who's always with us. Jane, we know you're watching. And just a little reminder that when you're ready, should you desire to publish your fabulous CaringBridge Journal into a book, we will all buy millions of copies and give it to everyone we know. And we'll be delighted to celebrate with a giant book launch party for you. I'm going to be there at that event, I promise you. It's our custom and our ritual to honor all that we carry by the lighting of candles. We light a candle for all the joys and celebrations, all the good news, the grandchildren, the flowers, the birds, everything wondrous and beautiful and amazing that is a part of our world, especially for the close bonds and connections of family and friends. We light a candle for all of our cares and sorrows, the grief, the loss, the troubles, the things that keep us up at night, the things that are just too heavy to carry alone. We share them with one another. And we light a candle for all of planet Earth, all its creatures, all the elements, everything that is, for we are all family, we are all relations. Let us take this time to reflect. Those of you online can share in the chat as we sing Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirring of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Well, on May Day or Sunday or whatever it's called, many of the Elizabethans were a little critical that young men and maids, old men and wives, they run gadding all overnight to the woods, the hills, the groves, and the mountains. I think that even happens here. Did they spend their time singing, dancing, reciting poetry? So Shakespeare used to love those people, and he often had characters celebrate these things. And in the play Cymbeline, his songs were, "Hark, hark, the lark." I won't actually sing it, though. "Hark, hark, the lark at heaven's gate sings, when wondrous Phoebus' chariot begins to arise, his steeds to water at those springs. On chalice flowers that lies, and winking merry buds begin to open their golden eyes. With everything that pretty is, my lady sweet, arise, arise. My lady sweet, arise." And the characters were saying, you know, it worked. That music, that poetry, it worked. Here she comes.
The San Francisco Bay Area is one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth. I'm biased. It's my homeland, and I'm extremely connected to it. The Pacific Ocean, with its vast horizon, incredible, never the same twice sunsets, and the soothing in and out breathing of the waves. The ocean always embraces and comforts me. It's always with me, and I can conjure it whenever I need a sanctuary of calm. I need to remember to focus on my breathing. The giant redwoods, the most sacred and awe-inspiring of temples, has a powerful, penetrating presence that fills my soul to overflowing. The rolling hills that are covered in orange poppies and all manner of wildflowers every spring, revealing the abundance of sunshine and rain at that time of year. And my favorite local corner of heaven when I was growing up was the Wildcat Loop Trail at the Rancho San Antonio Park, where my horse Portia and I spent countless hours roaming the foothills. We knew every tree, we knew every bush. I sure knew where every single bush of poison oak was to avoid those at all costs. Horses like to eat it, and then if they sweat, they can give the person poison oak. Good tip, don't do that. I knew the squirrel songs. Oh, they were chatterbugs, these squirrels. The bug songs, the bird songs. I knew the bunnies and the deer, and occasionally one of my very special friends, one of the bobcats, would come and hang out, pay me a visit. I loved those plants and animals, those trees. I had favorites. That entire place, even the rattlesnakes, were really pretty chatty Cathys. I always have preferred the natural world to the human-made one, to the animals, the rocks, the streams, over the people, I confess. I feel at home in nature. I feel that sense of oneness and peace. But often around humans, I feel alienation, and the modern, busy 21st century life doesn't fill me with peace most of the time, I admit it. But it's a mistake of our Western mindset to think of ourselves as separate at all from nature, from the world around us. We are a part of it, for better and worse. The parts we've made and the parts that came here naturally. It's been a struggle for me throughout my life to come to terms with that, to get to grips with our human family dynamics. And sometimes I fall into a bad attitude about all the challenges and disappointments and struggles of being human, paying taxes, just anything and everything can kind of put me in a funk. But it's nature that has the ability to get me out of that funk and remind me that I am a part of the oneness. And once I pick up the song, I can carry that back into my daily routine and remind myself, yeah, this too is home, and we are all family. One of the reasons I was so excited to come here to Calgary is the amazing natural beauty that abounds here, because I need it. I crave it. I have to have it, or I get a little grumpy from time to time without it. And I realized lately I'd been staying indoors way too much. I found myself feeling very crabby and grumpy, and I thought, you know what? You need to get your little butt outside. That's what needs to happen. Get out there. It's not cold. Go. So, as I remembered our new theme this month, which is nurturing beauty, it also reminded me of one of my favorite quotes from Wendell Berry. It's called "The Peace of the Wild Things." I know you've heard it. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. Ah, yes, the peace of wild things. There's nothing like it to set my mind free and help me release my stress and relax into the embrace of nature's beauty. I went for a walk yesterday just down the block in my housing development. They had the peace of mind to preserve and make, I suppose, a pond and a marsh surrounded by cattails, and oh, the birds love it. It's not green yet, but oh, it's still so magnificently beautiful. The architecture of the birch trees and the evergreens and those amazing cattails, I love to help them fall apart and blow away. And oh my goodness, blackbirds of every kind. I love the red-winged blackbirds. That sound that red-winged blackbirds make is one of my favorite sounds on all of earth. Had a lot of those where I grew up. And I met for the first time the yellow-headed blackbirds, big dudes, cocky, lots of attitude, those birds. Amazing. And a house finch, they're pink, y'all. They're pink. Have you seen them? Oh my gosh. And they have this huge voice, this little itty bitty tiny bird, and they're like, I made that. That was me. I'm the source of that sound. Oh yeah, I'm all that. That's my song, and I'm singing it loud. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Mm-hmm. Wynton Marsalis, can't beat it. It's incredible. And I just get so excited. I really do. I'm like a little kid. I just, oh, look, there's a pretty rock. Oh, look, I found something from a fairy house. I found a piece of bark with moss growing on it. I took it home from a fairy's. And I found little bitty tiny pine cones that are so pretty and perfect, every last little one of them. And this beautiful tree that's shedding its bark this time of year. I don't know why, but that's what it's doing. And it is so beautiful. And I brought home a stick with a little bit of bark and little peely paper stuff that's on the edges of those kinds of trees that have paper bark. And it's just beautiful and magnificent, and I love it. And I brought home my little treasures, and I was so pleased with myself and so happy and just cured of my malaise. I had not a single thought while I was out there of anything other than how beautiful and wonderful and amazing nature is. And oh, I even leaned on a birch tree once. I couldn't help myself. I found myself kind of like edging over and leaning on it and kind of hugging it. And I'm hugging the tree. And it really felt like an embrace. Like I really needed a hug from that tree right then. That tree was there for me when I needed it. And it's still there. I can go back anytime. Well, the great Irish poet and mystic John O'Donohue spoke about this magical alchemy that happens when we remember we're one with our environment. He said, when we approach with reverence, great things decide to approach us. When we walk on the earth with reverence, beauty will decide to trust us. The rushed heart and the arrogant mind lack the gentleness and patience to enter that embrace. Beauty is mysterious, a slow presence who waits for the ready, expectant heart. I want to have a ready, expectant heart as I go through my day. Well, John O'Donohue's from the west of Ireland, and his Celtic roots influenced him greatly in this philosophy of his, where the divine is understood as manifest everywhere in everything. And that's part of my heritage. I'm half Scottish. Well, I'm 40% Scottish and 10% Irish. So it's my heritage too, this earth-centered, mystical embrace of beauty and oneness with nature. And John O'Donohue talks a lot about beauty. He talks a lot about that. He wrote an entire book about it. So if you're a fan of his, I encourage you to read that. And the teachings are so similar to the earth-centered spiritualities of indigenous peoples the world over. And that includes certainly the people that I've met and the elders I've spoken with here in Blackfoot Confederacy and Treaty 7 territory. I'm blessed to learn here from elders and wise people of all kinds, and connecting my own ancestry, my own heritage, to that of the First Nations people, finding that kinship, is really heartening to me. And so much of that, there's an urgency about connecting all of us in that way. I'm taking the wrestling with the truth of colonization. And the urgency comes in our responsibility to take that kinship and use it to challenge colonialism, white supremacy, and the industrialist capitalist patriarchy. I'm reminded that in seminary I was introduced to the teachings of human rights and environmental activist, poet, and scholar Carol Lee Sanchez. Sanchez was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and she's Laguna Pueblo, Lakota, and Lebanese American. And in her article, Animal, Vegetable, and Mineral, The Sacred Connection, she shares this widely held indigenous perspective on the relationship between humans and the world around us. She says, among traditional tribal people, to be spiritual is to be aware and accepting of the spirit or the spirit world, and to believe in a spirit, force, or power that manifests itself in all things, animate or inanimate, all things. When Native Americans refer to themselves as spiritual people, they're saying they believe that everything in the universe is imbued with spirit, and they embrace, acknowledge, and respect that animating force within, surrounding, beyond all things, including humans. The idea of the sacred held by traditional Indians is all-inclusive. And to be a spiritual person is to be in communion with the great mystery. This concept also carries a mandate for the people to strive to achieve harmony within their community and its surrounding environment, to walk in beauty, or to see the good in everything. Being a good person in tribal terms means your good behavior and intentions are extended toward creatures, plants, and elements, as well as humans. Indians, she says, simply say that to live a good life is to walk in beauty. The great mystery continues to surround us with beauty, and it is important to carry more of those images around with us while we attempt to correct the imbalances we've so carelessly brought about. Native Americans do this by remembering their non-human relatives, Mitakuye, by sending out a song to them and seeking their guidance. The invitation that Sanchez makes is not to misappropriate Native teachings, but she tells us to open a door through which anyone so inclined can step to examine the possibilities of adapting certain tribal concepts or principles for current daily use in modern technological society. Good idea. She invites us all to develop attitudes that place doing the laundry, going grocery shopping, and working a 40-hour week in the realm of the sacred. Create a sense of place and put down spiritual roots where you are. She says, suppose you think about all the beautiful places in your city that may have been sacred places at one time for the original Native inhabitants. There are trees and grasses and flowers and birds and ants and bees waiting for you to send your songs to them, to say hello, to call them sister, brother, cousin, friend. They're your relatives. They hear your thoughts as you travel around the city back and forth to your home. We strive to be thankful to the spirit world around us consciously every day, including our relatives in our thoughts, to remain in harmony and balance. She says, begin where you are. Center yourself in the region where you make your home and introduce yourselves to the spirits of your place. Greet the plant, creature, mineral, wind, water, earth, and sky spirits. Make a song to them. Start where you are. Do you have a baking song? You can create one. How about making up a song for grocery shopping? Or a song for making your laundry sparkle? You can create a food blessing poem to thank the spirits of the foods you eat for giving themselves up to your nourishment. We believe that how we think about ourselves and our environment is how we will experience it in our day-to-day existence. If your intention to become connected to your land base is sincere, the resulting experiences will be very rewarding and personally enriching. Welcome all your relatives into your immediate family. So that's called the Beauty Walk. And walking in beauty in particular is associated with the ancient wisdom of the Navajo people. You know who this reminds me of? None of you are going to be surprised. This reminds me of our darling Jane Perry, who sings everywhere she goes, who has this attitude of beauty and blessing, and who is herself a blessing, and so, so beautiful. One of the most beautiful people I've ever met, Jane, that's you. And she talked about this in her journal, coincidentally, just this week, and she gave me permission to share some with you. She says, I have a beautiful and endlessly wonderful partner who makes my days that much more amazing just by being in them. I'm incredibly lucky to have a warm and loving circle of family and friends. I have deep passion for both community building and music education through choral music, and I continue to create plans for my choirs, even while relegated for now to this wing chair. And I think that gardening is a mystical, magical experience that transforms the gardener, the garden visitor, and our relationships with the earth and each other. I'm gonna engrave that on a plaque and put it in the garden, Jane. In between and around all these bits of magic is the mundane. Thinking up a plan for supper, eating, washing the dishes afterward, making the tea, toasting the bagel, listening to the morning show. It's all these little things that make a life, the gentleness of day-to-day things. And if, as Buddhist teachers suggest, we can stay in the moment and focus only on that moment, we gain a vibrancy and a clarity that amplify the moment's beauty, as well as our sense of being alive. She was contemplating courage. She says, less courage, more kindness, trust, and flow. Less bravery, more love of the simple act of living. Less a battle against death, and more a big, beautiful bear hug for life. Oh, Jane, I want to hug you so badly right now. We're all sending you giant bear hugs. We love you so much. You're amazing. Mwah. And a blessing from Carol Lee Sanchez. May your heart and mind find the beauty way, and may peace through balance and harmony be yours in all your days on Mother Earth. Let us take a few moments now to reflect about this and think about how we can all be more like Jane, and think about the songs of our daily living and how we can learn to move in beauty, to journey in beauty on Mother Earth, within ourselves and with each other, as we listen to Dona Nobis Pacem.
is the time we honor and gratefully receive the financial support that sustains this congregation and its mission. It's through the hard work and generosity of all our members and friends that we are able to continue to build our beloved community. In this technological age, there are so many ways to give. We heartily thank all of you who make regular pledge commitments or donations through the digital means that we cannot actually see in the basket, but there are envelopes for in-person contributions, and information on the slides also allows you to choose what works for you. Our four others recipient for May is the Bear Clan Patrol, Calgary, modeled on the one in Winnipeg. It is a community people working with the community to provide personal security in the inner cities in a nonviolent and supportive ways. This is what they expressed on their Facebook. Today's resurgence of the Bear Clan Patrol is in response to our community need to protect women, children, elderly, and vulnerable communities members, and we proudly serve Mohkinstsis and Treaty community. If you would like to contribute to the Bear Clan Patrol Calgary, please indicate that on your donation. Your gifts will now be gratefully received. And please join me in singing From You I Receive.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live.
Thank you to everyone who's helping out on Sunday mornings. Lynn's been rounding up volunteers. We have sign-up sheets online for ushers and greeters and welcomers and helpers with the basket passing and money counting. So if you're willing or able to help us out on a given Sunday, please let us know by signing up, and we'd be delighted to show you the ropes if you don't know. And it's a fun way to get to know people too. So we thank you to everyone who makes Sunday possible. It is a team sport. We extinguish our chalice, but not the flames of beauty, the beauty of beloved community that lives in our hearts and shines within us all, everywhere we go. I'd like to invite you to join us online in our coffee chat. That link is going to be posted at the end of our song. You're welcome to stick around and talk with one another and spend some time together. And certainly if you're here in the building, I sure hope that means you're planning to stay for the annual general meeting. We had the kids make a maypole out there. I'm going to go check out in the garden what they've done and see their baskets. And there's our usual coffee time to visit and get to know one another. If you're new around here, please feel free to stop by our welcome table and learn more about us, or just ask any one of these amazing, friendly people what's going on around here. They'll be happy to talk to you. We're delighted you're here with us, all of you. And then we get to have our annual meeting. Again, this is an opportunity to practice congregational polity. That means that this congregation is self-determining. We get to hold up those little strips of paper and show that our voices matter and that we decide things as a body for the good of our community and the benefit of our mission and for the love of Unitarian Universalism. So I certainly hope you'll stick around, and there'll be sandwiches, and it's actually a lot more fun than it sounds. So please stay with us. Our closing words, there's a blessing from John O'Donohue. Now is the time to free the heart. Let all intentions and worries stop. Free the joy inside of the self. Awaken to the wonder of your life. Journey in beauty, my beloveds, until we meet again. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing one voice.
This is the sound of one voice. Yeah, sing with me. One spirit, one voice. The sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This